Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lakeland University. Please rise and join in the singing of the national anthem. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you, graduates, parents, relatives, faculty, staff, and friends, to this, the 158th commencement exercise of Lakeland University, and to declare this ceremony now to begin. Today, at our three ceremonies, Lakeland will officially award 659 of our students their associates, bachelor's or master's degrees. Some of you attended our traditional residential campus in the fields and forests outside of Howards Grove, Wisconsin. Some attended one of our Kellett School centers around the state. Others attended virtually from their homes. You come from all over the state, the country, and the world. The flags on stage behind me represent the home countries of Lakeland students. You are all part of Lakeland's family, and we're excited to bring you all together in celebration of your academic accomplishments. We know this is not the ceremony that many of you had envisioned. We wish we could have shared this moment with you in person, but we're so glad you're here virtually. Founded in the dark days of the war between the states, Lakeland University has always been an act both of faith and commitment. We are intentionally and unapologetically a university of the church, and we will therefore begin the commencement ceremony with an invocation given by the university's chaplain, the Reverend Dr. Julie Mavity Madalena.
Please join me as you will in a spirit of prayer. God of all good things, we made it. Through the typical challenges and adventures, and through some extraordinary ones in the home stretch. We are gathered here now, tuning in from many different places to celebrate the accomplishments of these graduates. We celebrate the courage that brought them here from everything they knew before. We celebrate the resilience that carried them through when the unexpected and difficult arose. We celebrate the wisdom they have sought and the wisdom they have found. O God, above all, we give thanks for humility, without which true learning is impossible, and for the mystery of love, without which our learning is meaningless. We need the gifts of these graduates in the world today. People whose courage and wisdom is marked by love and humility. May our graduates share these gifts with the world as they begin this next leg of their journey. May they know they have left their mark here at Lakeland. Their contributions have blessed and enriched us, making Lakeland a better, more diverse place than it was before. And may they know they will always be remembered and welcomed back as valued members of the Lakeland family. Amen.
I'm here in the offices of the Milwaukee-based Bradley Foundation to introduce a friend of Lakeland University who has supported many of our institution's initiatives. Mr. Richard Graber was named President and Chief Executive Officer of the Lion and Harry Bradley Foundation in July 2016. Prior to joining the foundation, Rick served as the Senior Vice President for Global Government Relations for Honeywell International. In that role, he was responsible for leading Honeywell's worldwide government relations initiatives. Rick served as the United States Ambassador to the Czech Republic from 2006 to 2009, where he actively engaged the Czech government and private sector on a number of issues, including President Bush's proposed missile defense system, transparency, corruption, and judicial reform. Rick managed a 280-person embassy and was responsible for effectively maintaining and strengthening the historic relations between the two countries. Prior to his time in Prague, Rick practiced law in the international, corporate, and government relations practices at the Reinhardt, Berner, Van Doren law firm in Milwaukee. He was the president and chief executive officer of the firm from 2004 to 2006. Rick served on the board of directors of the Kern Family Foundation and the Kurt Joe Incorporated. He earned his law degree from Boston University Law School and graduated magna cum laude with an AB from Duke University. Rick is married to Alex and they have two sons, Scott and Eric. It is my pleasure to welcome to the commencement stage, Mr. Richard Graber.
Thank you, Scott, for your kind introduction, and thank you, Dr. Black, for your leadership at Lakeland University. You've done a remarkable job overseeing a truly one-of-a-kind school that does so much to give students the tools to succeed professionally and in life. Students, the fruits of your efforts here will not only transform your lives, but will make your communities, Wisconsin, and our country better places. I'm truly honored to take part in the ceremonies this weekend and am especially glad in this difficult and strange year to honor our graduates, even though it has to be virtually. I so wish we could be all together today, but let's make the best of this very special day. Let me start by congratulating each of you and your families. I'm sure in recent days, many of you have reflected on your journey here at Lakeland. Like most journeys, there was probably some anxiety and uncertainty, especially in the early days. As you charted your path, you almost certainly encountered situations that you didn't expect. Yet the fact that you've earned a degree from an outstanding university is proof that you overcame doubts, believed in yourself, and successfully invested in your education and, in the process, yourself. You're now about to embark on still another journey as you step foot into the world as a college graduate. Has a good ring to it, doesn't it? Even in a normal year, graduation can be daunting. It's both an end and a beginning, and that's uncomfortable. But in this most unusual year, you may be questioning even more what the future holds for you. Will the impact of COVID prevent you from obtaining a job in your chosen field? And if you do get one, will you be able to keep it? And in this time of civil unrest, political divisiveness, and loneliness, all fueled in part by social media, what kind of country are you about to encounter as you begin your next chapter? My first message to you today is that despite all of its problems and imperfections, America is still an exceptional country. Indeed, the greatest, most impactful country on earth. More than ever, it needs exceptional people such as you to restore, strengthen, and protect its ideals. There's been heated debate in recent times about who we are as a country. Regardless of your views on America's past or present, I hope there's one point we can all agree on, and that is America remains a land of hope and opportunity. That hope and opportunity does not mean that there will be no challenges. Rest assured, you will experience setbacks in life. That's part of the human experience. But nowhere else in the world do you have the freedom to fail, the freedom to try again, and the freedom to then succeed beyond your wildest dreams. In many places in the world, if you failed, that's your only chance. Here, failure is merely an opportunity to learn from your mistakes and become even better. Resilience truly is part of America's DNA. I often refer to the Bradley brothers, Lakeland and Harry, for whom the Bradley Foundation is named. They were 20th century industrialists from Milwaukee who started with very little and had many stops and starts and bumps in the road on their path to building the Allen Bradley Company, one of the most successful and recognizable companies in Milwaukee's history. And I urge you to think about the brothers every time you drive by the famous Allen Bradley clock towering over the south side of Milwaukee. Lakeland and Harry developed grit and self-reliance by taking risks, making the most of educational opportunities, and by working real hard. The brothers came to understand the dignity that comes from work and that economic freedom leads to greater opportunity, prosperity, and quality of life. They shared Lakeland University's belief that people can't be free if they're not economically free. So if you're feeling stuck at the moment, or if you've fallen a little behind, that's okay. Just remember that it's up to you to pick yourself up and try again, just like Lakeland and Harry did. And you needn't look far for inspiration. It's been impressive, but not really surprising, to see the entrepreneurial spirit of America rise up in the midst of this global health pandemic. All around us, private enterprise is finding ways to adapt through innovation. Restaurants are offering curbside service. Distilleries have turned into sanitizer factories. Clothing companies are churning out face masks. Automakers are producing ventilators. And online learning tools have proliferated to help educate the new legion of homeschoolers. And we've all become Zoom meeting experts, haven't we? The ingenuity and initiative of the private sector, even when hamstrung, cannot be defeated. I look back to my own setbacks, and while I didn't realize it at the time, see how they ultimately created opportunities that I never could have imagined. As President Black and Scott mentioned, I've been a lawyer, an ambassador, a corporate executive, and now a foundation president. Other than the lawyer part, none of the above were part of the original plan. And there's a lesson there. Plan to expect the unexpected and go for the opportunities when they present themselves, even if it makes you a bit uncomfortable at the time. In 1990, I ran for a state assembly seat on Milwaukee's North Shore and got clobbered in a primary against State Senator Alberta Darling. It's never fun to lose, especially in such a public way, but I learned a lot from that experience and grew from it. And it did bring home the point that careers are never a straight trajectory upward. I learned that it's really important to find opportunity in and adjust from setbacks. And when those inevitable setbacks occur, pick yourself up and move on as quickly as you can. Let me switch gears now and just say a few words about your university. As President Black once said, Lakeland University has been innovating since the year it was born. The founders of this wonderful university were entrepreneurs who sought a new life in America. They were immigrants who cared most about the idea of freedom, freedom to worship differently, and freedom to make a living. That industrious mindset laid the foundation for the innovative and nimble university that Lakeland is today. You should be proud that you received a degree from a university that has been laser focused on setting you up for success in today's world. Something that has always impressed me about Lakeland is its commitment to prepare students for what the labor force actually needs. That takes foresight and planning. You're the only school in the Midwest fully offering a cooperative education. So while you benefited from elements of a traditional liberal arts program, many of you have also already had the opportunity to apply your education in the real world by working at a company, doing research in a science lab, or even performing with a local arts group. These are unique and valuable experiences outside the classroom that you'll draw from as much, if not even more so, than your experiences inside the classroom. They've taught you to expect the unexpected and to find new and better ways of doing things. And they've taught you that hard work really does pay off. As your career unfolds, you'll constantly need to pivot and adapt. You'll also need to learn to work with people who have vastly different viewpoints and backgrounds from your own. I urge you to embrace rather than resist this reality. One of our greatest freedoms is the freedom of speech, and there's good reason that the framers of the Constitution guaranteed it in the First Amendment. We should all be deeply concerned right now about the attacks on freedom of speech and freedom of the press. The quote often used to describe the beliefs of French philosopher Voltaire says it best. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. While we may vehemently disagree with someone or even find their views offensive, we must respect their right to speak. Free speech truly is the hallmark of an open, flourishing society. But I'll take that a step further. If you haven't already done so, I challenge you to become friends with at least one person with whom you disagree. A poll came out a very few years ago that was really troubling. 1 in 6 Americans has stopped talking to a close friend or even a family member because of the 2016 election. That's crazy. We simply must be tolerant of people with different perspectives, because if we fail to do so, our survival as a country is in jeopardy. A colleague, Princeton professor Robbie George, recently said something that I think is sound advice for what we're experiencing right now. He said that we must be a little more forgiving, a little more understanding, a little more willing to listen and not just preach, a little more willing to let the person on the other side unsettle you by challenging your deepest, your most cherished, even identity-forming opinions. The competition of ideas is what leads to human progress. We're so lucky to live in a country that has always valued the marketplace of ideas. And because of our democratic system of governance, we get to vote on them every 4 years in a free and fair election. Indeed, another aspect of American exceptionalism. Yes, the 2016 election cycle was nothing short of messy and at times disheartening. And the 2020 elections are shaping up to be even messier. But whenever I'm feeling particularly down on our system, I think back to my time in Prague and my many conversations with my Czech driver, Karel Sedlak, about his life in what was then Czechoslovakia before the fall of communism. Karel, a very humble, uncomplicated man, often spoke about listening to Radio Free Europe on a transistor radio under the covers of his bed as a child and young adult. Now, how many of you here remember those little handheld battery-operated radios? I imagine not too many. In any event, that radio was his only link to what he thought could be a better way of life. He believed that a free and open society would be a better society for himself and his family. And ultimately, after the fall of the Soviet Union and the liberation of Czechoslovakia, it's why he subsequently applied to work for the United States Embassy and has stayed there for the past 20 years, driving United States ambassadors. It's very easy to take our freedom and liberty and choice for granted when you've never known anything else. We must consciously fight to not do that and always work to improve and sustain our democracy in every way we can. In my view, it's hard to disagree with Winston Churchill when he said that democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others. One thing is for sure about our elections: it really does make a difference who wins and loses. And that brings me to the other part of my message today, which is that America really needs each of you to give back so that the ideals of this country that made it possible for you to enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are there for future generations. I think that means being civically engaged. Caring about elections means much more than caring about presidential elections every 4 years. Arguably, local officials have much more impact on your day-to-day life than the president or your U.S. senators. Mayors, aldermen, state representatives, and state senators, school board members, state court judges are all really important people in our democracy. Research the candidates, work at the polls, get involved in a campaign. If you're really motivated, run for office. But by all means, vote. You are now more prepared than ever to make a difference and to contribute. I would also encourage you to make the most of your working career. Do your best every day. Just like in school, you'll have days at work where you just don't feel motivated. Try to think of each day of life in this country as a gift in which you have the freedom to give it your all. There are no limits. And be open to paths you hadn't even considered, even if that means lower pay. In my case, I left a very good job at a Milwaukee law firm for a government job overseas that paid a whole lot less. But as I look back, which of course is much easier to do than making a decision in real time, it's the best thing I ever did for my career and for my family, because it has led to so many different and interesting adventures. It also instilled in me an even deeper appreciation for American exceptionalism. We are a uniquely giving country that willingly invests in the institutions of civil society. This never stood out to me more than when I was an ambassador and living in Europe. It became very clear that donating money or volunteering time was simply not a natural or expected part of day-to-day life. And it turns out my observation is backed by research. The value of American philanthropy is equivalent to 5.5% of the national gross domestic product. That's by far the highest in the world. No other country even reaches 2% of GDP. And we've witnessed firsthand America's generous nature during the pandemic. According to The Economist, American foundations, corporations, and individuals have donated at least $5.3 billion to more than 1,200 organizations around the world in response to the crisis. And I'm sure that number continues to climb. And it's not just donating money either. When it comes to volunteering, Americans are incredibly generous, ranking second globally in terms of the number of people who volunteer their time. Encouragingly, volunteering in the U.S. is at an all-time high, according to the most recent figures available, with citizens volunteering nearly 6.9 billion hours, worth an estimated $167 billion in economic value. So yes, giving back is uniquely American and a fundamental part of what it means to be a citizen of our great country. Our nation and communities need your time and attention. And this is a point I can't stress enough, because it's civil society, families, neighborhoods, churches, voluntary organizations, through which people transform their lives and communities, not government. Government can't teach you to love your neighbor or help someone in need. Government doesn't form virtuous citizens. It's our local institutions that foster and guide those behaviors. Through my work at the Bradley Foundation, I've come to learn about some incredible, often small organizations that the foundation has supported through the years that are doing the quiet, important work of addressing some really tough problems. For example, an organization called Running Rebels helps kids in the juvenile justice system get their lives back on track before it's too late. Or Serenity Inn, helping men overcome drug and alcohol abuse and once again become contributing members of society. Or Alma Center, dealing with the domestic violence which is so prevalent in Milwaukee. Or Axe Housing, helping people find a way to fulfill their dream of owning their own home. Or Community Warehouse, hiring people who cannot otherwise get a job because of past criminal records. Each making a difference, one person at a time, each restoring the dignity and self-worth of fellow citizens. All of these organizations and countless more need private resources and volunteers. I know that Lakeland University highly values community service, and many of you have already been deeply involved in making a difference. I urge you to continue to add value in your own way. Find a cause and make a difference. Finally, care about your neighbors. I fear that as a nation, we're losing some of that sense of community, maybe a lot of that. Seems ironic that in an age where everyone is connected, we've never felt more disconnected. That seems to be particularly true with your generation, the first who have grown up with iPhones and Facebook and Twitter and countless other forms of communication. How many of us today are more likely to send a message to someone across the country or even the world than we are to reach out to our own neighbors? Trust me when I say that you'll get more satisfaction from face-to-face interaction. Well, that's when it's safe to do so. But in any event, the point is you'll find connectedness in being disconnected from social media. Problems can much more easily be overcome by talking instead of texting. And you may find that someone who you thought was an adversary is actually an ally. So while there's no magic wand or silver bullet to solve all of the problems facing our country, I do know that if each of you gives back in some small way, the difference cumulatively will be enormous. What's important is to take that initiative. Our country, our future, our common beliefs and values that have made America exceptional depend on it. And in short, what are those common beliefs and values? First, there's dignity in everyone, and a special dignity that comes from work and making your own way. Second, free speech should unite us, not divide us. Third, we live in a marketplace of ideas and have the privilege to elect the people who we believe represent the best of those ideas. Fourth, every person has value and can and should contribute. Fifth, community and culture really do matter. And finally, friendships and family are really important. Stay truly connected to them by having conversations and spending time together. They will get you through the hard times, and they'll be there to celebrate your successes, like today. Thanks again for allowing me to share a few thoughts. Congratulations once again. Enjoy this moment, but then get back in the saddle for yourself, your family, your community, and your country. Cheers.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for calling us to deeper social decency, more courageous civic engagement, and just a better expression of our humanity and neighborliness. We needed to hear what you had to say. Now, Ambassador Graber, it's my privilege to tell you that your deeds in service to humankind have been noted by this university, and we find you honorable, and we find your life lived honorably. By the power vested in this office by the Board of Trustees, and pursuant to the recommendation of the faculty to that board, I hereby confer upon you the Doctor of Humane Letters degree honoris causa, with all of the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. We mark this conferral of your degree by draping you with a doctoral hood and handing you a doctoral diploma. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Hooked?
Yeah, let's see. No, I can't. Here we go. This guy just did over with. Yeah, your diploma.
Thank you
Dr.
so
Graber.
much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
For this, the 158th Commencement, the Board of Trustees herewith authorizes President David Black to confer all degrees and present the diplomas.
Mr. President, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for associate's and bachelor's degrees. They have completed all requirements and have been recommended by the faculty of Lakeland University for the Associate of Science, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and Bachelor of Science degrees.
By the authority vested in this office by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you, members of the Lakeland University graduating class of 2020, the Associate of Arts degree, the Bachelor of Arts degree, the Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, and the Bachelor of Sciences degree, respectively, with all of the privileges and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations.
Candidates, please move the tassels on your mortarboards from right to left. The name of each graduate will be read by Dr. Meg Albrink, University Provost, while a picture submitted by each graduate is shown.
The Bachelor of Arts recipients: Isaac Olson Anderson, cum laude. Rachel Lynn Anderson, summa cum laude. Sierra Becker. John August Bentler. Kylie Ann Burkholtz. Benjamin Joshua Blanchette. Jasmine Lynn Borgman, summa cum laude. Danielle Grace Bossler. Natalie May Bova. Kaylin Violet Brandbeck, summa cum laude. Carly Danielle Campbell, summa cum laude. Carlos S. Campos. Jonah David Carlson. Deontay Juwan Carlton. Danielle Marie Chismarek, magna cum laude. TJ James Corona. Lindsay Michaela Kadecki. Asia Danforth. Jamie Ehlert. Caitlin Erin Fitzgerald, cum laude. Sharore Garduno. Dana Gattaca Laborio. Nathan Joseph Galonia, magna cum laude. Rachel Ann Haskell. Kenneth Haynes. Julia Elaine Henderson. Brandon J. Heron. Erin Michelle Iwanski, summa cum laude. Shakur T. Janad, cum laude. Brianna Rachel Johnson, cum laude. Zachary Ryan Jones. Hannah M. Canyu. Cheyenne Jade Koski, summa cum laude. Kasahun L. Lehman. Andrew John Lemperer, magna cum laude. Aaliyah Ashley Marie Lewis McCullum. Hannah Marie McFarland, summa cum laude. Sarah Ann Lotz, summa cum laude. Israel Macias Gutierrez, magna cum laude. Jonquil Monette. Eric Benjamin Nauman, summa cum laude. Trenton A. Nelson. Jane Bao Nguyen. Ronnie Joe Nigro, summa cum laude. Dylan Daniel Ninmer. Marissa May O'Connor, summa cum laude. Madison Rose Olson, summa cum laude. Logan Thomas O'Neill. Madeline Marie Pfister. Riley Jane Phelps, cum laude. Natalie E. Polifka. Nicholas Benhart Rosh. Stephen A. Reagan, Jr. Maya Lenice Reed. David Rodriguez, summa cum laude. Carissa Ann Rowland. Madison Catherine Rookdashel. Asusel Sanchez Beltran, cum laude. Morgan L. Schiedemeyer, magna cum laude. Michaela Josephine Showalter. Madison Adele Schweitzer, cum laude. Molly Mariah Schwibinger, magna cum laude. Carson R. Teskey. Tanya Lee Tripler, magna cum laude. Rachel S. Ulatowski, summa cum laude. Lexia Liliana Upson, cum laude. Carly Rose Vanderweel. Tyler J. Williams, magna cum laude. Austin Charles Winter. Zeni Evita Davina Yakab. Angela Yang. Shinpei Yano. Stephanie N. Zimmerman. The Bachelor of Sciences recipients. Paige R. Brenham. Lauren Elizabeth Brugink. Thomas J. Coleman, summa cum laude. Davin Sean Fleming. Ryan Howard Hoy. Evan Martin. John Robert Posey, summa cum laude. Nathan Sampson, cum laude. Chacon B. Vu. Congratulations to all of the associate's and bachelor's degree recipients.
It's my pleasure to present to you Cheyenne Koski, who will speak on behalf of the Lakeland University graduating class of 2020.
Congratulations, class of 2020. We did it. We are officially college graduates. We will forever be known as the class of 2020, the class that faced the most unexpected of challenges and came out strong. But that is not what defines our story. It is not what defined our college experience. Let's think back to that first day on campus, freshman move-in day. We all had our own story. Some of us came from tiny schools where we graduated high school with the same people we went to preschool with. Some of us came from large cities and took on the adventure of moving to a campus in the middle of a cornfield. Some of us chose Lakeland because of academics, others came because of sports, and some of you came for the arts. Yet when we stepped onto the Lakeland campus, we all had the same feeling. We felt that we were home. This tiny campus is more than a college, but instead a community, a large family of Muskies. Our stories may have started at different places, but we all shared this chapter together. Each of us are going on a different path after leaving Lakeland. Some will remain in the area, while others may go back to their own state or country. But we can all look back at this chapter of our story and be reminded of the best memories. We will remember walking down the hallways, knowing literally everyone we pass. The campus center's old pub, where we had karaoke nights and watched football games. We will remember watching and participating in sports, the homecoming events, Muskie extravaganzas, singing in the choir, playing in the band, the excitement of sizzling salads, 8 a.m. marathon classes, acting out skits in Pam and Lucretia's classes, cracking jokes with the science professors in the Chase Lounge, study groups in the old and new campus center, impromptu fast food runs, eating in the field house for a year because we didn't have a cafeteria, and late nights making memories with friends who will be with us always. Not only did Lakeland leave us with amazing memories, it left us with life lessons. The biggest of those lessons is that we must persevere. To persevere is to persist in anything undertaken, maintain a purpose in spite of difficulty, obstacles, or discouragement, and continue steadfastly. We have all learned that success does not come easily. Throughout college, we have learned to balance academics, extracurriculars, work, internships, and a social life. We learned that life can change at any time, but the best way to remain successful is to persevere. As Joshua Marine said, challenges are what makes life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. Every obstacle creates our story. I remember being so nervous to move on to a campus where I didn't know anyone. Now many of us are worried what careers we will end up with. Will we continue on with our education? Will we be able to find our dream jobs? There are so many unknowns, but that is what makes it our story. Lucky for us, Lakeland has taught us to persevere and work hard. As freshmen, we were told, stay in school, get good grades, and graduate, and that is exactly what we did. Many of us may be sad or disappointed that we could not say goodbye to our Lakeland family, that we couldn't celebrate together on campus for our accomplishments. But that is not what we will remember. We will remember those other moments, the moments that led us to our dream career, lifelong friends, and a family to always return to. It may not be today, but we will see each other again. For now, we need to celebrate our hard work and cherish those memories that will last us forever. Congratulations, class of 2020. We completed this chapter. Now it is time to continue our story.
Please welcome the representative from the Lakeland University Alumni Association and class of 1985 graduate, Reverend Rebecca Johnston.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of all Mission House, Lakeland College, and Lakeland University alumni, I congratulate all of you, our newest graduates, with the completion of your educational journey. Today is a day of transition. Today does not signify the end of your relationship with Lakeland. From this day on, you'll be called upon to take on a new role as alumni. Whether you are new to the professional workforce, switching career paths, or taking the next step in your educational goals, we wish you all the best in this next chapter of your lives. The values you have been taught, the struggles you have withstood, and the diploma you will receive have prepared you to compete with anybody, anywhere. I encourage you to stay in touch. Let us know where you are and what you have been doing. Attend events on campus, in your own communities, and participate in opportunities offered through the university. Your experience with Lakeland can truly be lifelong. Class of 2020, congratulations on your graduation and in making your dreams become a reality. Welcome to the alumni family.
Please stand and join in the singing of the Lakeland University alma mater, the words for which will scroll on the screen.
And now, take courage, dear ones. The way is often hard. The path is never clear. And the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are never alone. Amen.